Good morning, good afternoon, whatever it is, wherever you are. It's me again, Jen. Hello. And here we are again with the Elemental Wisdom Tarot deck, which is a really gorgeous tarot deck that has been graciously lent to me by my dear friend and tarot student, Taylor, who also has invited me on some adventures for the weekend. So we'll see what cards we have for the weekend, as well as, discussing what those cards mean. All right, so let's see. Without further ado, let's see what card we have for today. All right. Well, that's not a bad card for the weekend. It is the Magician. So, the Magician is typically it is a major arcana card. It is number 1, which doesn't mean that it is the first of the major arcana. The Fool is technically first, but he is 0. So the Magician is Roman numeral 1 in the major arcana. He is typically depicted as male, sometimes female, depends on the deck. It doesn't really matter. The energy is one of creation and manifestation. So male, female, it really doesn't matter. It just kind of is the typical aesthetic, shall we say, of the card. Usually all 4 of the suits are represented on the card, and they are very clearly represented in this one because we have here is the cups, the coins, the wands, and the swords, and the Magician is standing behind them. In this case, he's a hooded figure wearing white, which I'll get to that in a second. And also, he's kind of between these curtains. There's sort of a checkerboard pattern in front of him. There's a lightning strike happening behind him. And you'll notice the position of his hands. So I want to talk about that first, and then I'll go into the other stuff and the symbolism. I want to see, yes, these are different colors. That's what I expected. All right. So the hands are, it's the as above, so below sort of thing. It is flowing God's energy or the energy of the higher power into the earth and vice versa. And typically the Magician will be having one hand cast up and the other down. In this case, it is his left hand that is up and right hand that is down. It is very typically those hands, but every once in a while I've seen it flipped around. So usually the dominant hand, the hand that reaches up to God, reaches up to the higher self, is the right hand. But every once in a while it's the left hand as well. I kind of like this left hand because I am left-handed, so that's just the way I am. But, the energy, the lightning strike coming down from the sky definitely represents the energy of higher self and God and power all coming through this Magician and him having the right tools for this. He stands inside the curtain, which we know from other cards. The curtain or the pillars is that being able to cross between 2 realms or 2 schools of thought or 2 places, kind of that manifestation from the ethereal to the more corporeal. And there he is standing in between that curtain. And the other thing is you have the black and white, the dichotomy of good and evil, black and white, darkness and light. All of those things are in that checkerboard pattern on the floor, or I don't know, maybe it's the table. He's sort of got a table floating on a table with stuff floating on that. He just likes to levitate things. So one of the other things I really like about this card is how clearly it represents all of the 4 suits, whereas in some of them it's like you kind of have to make this hide and seek game out of where the 4 suits are, and it is really important that those tools are there because yes, it is about the Magician having those tools, and the tools are the air, the fire, the water, and the earth being elemental tools, the emotion and the kind of financial backing and creativity and the energy for any kind of manifestation of something, of your ideas. So yes, it's great to have an idea, but how do you manifest that idea? And without the passion for that idea, why would you even do it? And if you don't have the financial backing or the supplies even to do that, the physical, tangible things, the material things, you can't create this thing. You can have it as an idea forever, but you can't create it unless you have the things tangibly in your hand to do so. So all of these things are very important with the Magician. What does the Magician mean? He means you have everything you need. Go for it. Do the thing. But be aware that you may still be kind of in training mode for some of these things. So the magician is I think about it as a video game. In the very beginning of a video game, before you go on your quest, you have to go through this tutorial. And what the tutorial does, sure, it gives you all the tools you're going to need, but it also says, before you can take this tool with you, you must pass this test. What it is basically teaching you how to use that. And that's what the magician is. One step at a time, teaching you how to use each one of these tools so that you can win the game, so that you can manifest these things. But what the magician is telling you is that, yes, you are ready, you are prepared. Which also means when it comes up reversed, that is the lesser or weaker aspect of this card, you probably don't have all the tools at your disposal, and you might want to double check your list. You might want to learn a little more before going on, and just take your time and not be arrogant about it, and not think, oh, I'm going into this and it's going to be fantastic. No, there's probably a lot to learn. So this is a really powerful magician card. I really like it. It's also really stripped down and simplistic, which is one of the things I like so far about some of the cards on this deck, is that it's like, here, this is what it means. I'm not adding any frills, not any extra stuff. I'm not going to put things that don't make any sense on here. I'm just going to make it very stripped down, but also cram a whole lot of symbolism into that card. So I'm super excited about this one. And again, the only thing I do not like is the font. Not a fan. But other than that, I do like this card. It's really cool. I think I mentioned before the texture of these cards is really great as well. So if you are interested in a tarot deck that is beautiful as well as very useful, I would get this deck, but with the caveat that it does not come with a book, and you probably already want to be pretty familiar with the cards before grabbing a deck like this, because it's a little bit different. It is a little more, some of the cards are a little more esoteric even than the esoteric types would get. So there you have the magician. And as always, until next time, please stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, and I will see you next time. Bye!